got funding for this one and one for Riverside at Longtown. So these were the only two within Cumbria that got funded. So we were looking at taking a whole house approach, how can we reduce the carbon? So in here, for example, the tenant is getting A++ fridge freezer. We've also put in low energy lights. We could have saved more energy by putting LEDs throughout. We didn't, partly on cost, but also partly because this is social housing. If we started raising the bar in this house, it gives these folks a real problem, because then everybody else comes and says, when are you fitting all the LED light into my house? Got high levels of insulation. We've tried to make it as airtight as possible, again within practical means. We haven't gone to the extremes of putting an air tightness membrane in, because part of the project was to how would you roll this out across 4.5 million social homes. We've got an external render system on here. It's a vacuum panel insulation system. Now the big advantage of doing the vacuum insulation is when you've got a property like this which is joined onto another property, if you use polystyrene or whatever it is as your insulation material when you're exterior insulating, you can end up with a very thick system, typically 5 to 6 inches worth of extra width on your wall. Now there is a slight step between the properties, but it's about 20 mil. So visually, you don't see it. The other thing we have to do as part of the competition is the whole house has to be monitored for 2 years. And then the Energy Saving Trust are accessing that information via modem. So in every room you'll see one of these little instruments. That's a temperature, humidity and CO2 combined monitor. The CO2's a measure of the air quality. So that feeds into the monitoring equipment here, which is a little touch screen for the tenant. It displays all the temperatures. They can control the heating through here. It shows how much electricity is being generated. It shows how much in pence per hour, how much energy is being used through the electric, the gas. We also have things like, if you see, every window and every door has a small contact on it, so that if the heating's on and somebody opens a window, it puts an alarm onto the screen and just lets the tenant know that the heating's on and the window's open. They can't do anything else with the monitoring kit until they get rid of that warning. So they either have to switch the heating off, close the window, or they can press ignore on the screen. So we're not telling them that they've got to switch it off. If they want to operate with the window open for whatever reason with the heating on, because that's the way they've always lived, that's fine. But we log that